Hey, welcome back everybody. I'm Neil, aka The Mundus, and on today's episode of Yesterland Toys, the toys that made sense, we're going to be going over the 2018 Star Wars action figure line, the Retro Collection. You remember those? We got those 6 cards. They were really hot. Everybody was going out to get them. Well, those figures were based on the very first movie, A New Hope. Or were they a big nope? So stay tuned, grab your favorite beverage and snack, sit back, because I'm going to see you guys on the other side. All right, Yesterland fans, here we are. I have my 6 2018 Retro Collection re-release of the 1978 Star Wars movie, A New Hope, action figures. In this line, we got Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia Organa, Han Solo, Darth Vader, Chewbacca, and a Stormtrooper. Now, yes, I wish we would have received the droids, C-3PO and R2-D2, along with a Death Star Trooper, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and a Jawa. But we didn't get that. We hoped we were going to get that in the second wave. But this is part 1, and I really want to focus on the New Hope line. These figures match almost to a T what these figures look like in 1978, or as they were released. You get, right off the bat, Luke Skywalker in his what they call Tatooine outfit, or also known as Farm Boy Luke. He resembles what he looked like in 1978. He gets his lightsaber non-telescoping, but he has that white tunic, tan pants, and that yellow hair. Now, we know there were multiple variations in where these figures were produced throughout the world, in Hong Kong, overseas, in Brazil, here in the United States. There's lots of different variations in the hair color. So I'm not going to dive too deep into that, but I'm just going to focus on the resemblance of the action figure from that time, and also the card back and the graphic in the picture. Now, we all know right off the bat, we get this horrible eyesore on the card covering the best part of the card, and that is the Retro Collection sticker. Now, this sticker can be pulled off if well taken care of, and you're calm and take your time and use either heat, or if I've heard some folks using some form of a chemical to remove this sticker. I haven't done that. I chose to keep these the way they are because, once again, these are retro figures. These are not original figures. I'm not trying to potentially advertise or market these as originals. So I believe in allowing originals to be originals, and these are retro and duplicates, or whatever you want to call them. So for me, I don't need to take that sticker off, but I agree with everybody out there. These have the biggest eyesore on them, that huge red sticker. Now, moving on in the line, we get Princess Leia Organa. She's in her white plastic vinyl cape, or, coat, whatever you want to call it. She gets an updated little bit of a version of her black pistol, but she has her typical white, as they call the Alderaan dress up, if you will, her gown. And you get her bun style sculpted head. And you get the wonderful card of where she's standing. I believe that's on the Death Star in front of one of the star system maps. And she's at her stance, if you will, of, frustration and worriedness of what's going to happen next. But let me jump back over to Luke real quick before I get too far ahead of myself. We have Luke in his graphic card where he's there on Tatooine staring out into the desert, and he's possibly staring at the 2 suns. I think we like to think that that's what he's doing. Moving forward, we get Han Solo in his line. It's typical Han. This is going to be referred to as Big Head Han, or the 1978 original issued Han. He comes with a black updated blaster. He comes in his black pants. He comes with the typical white shirt and the black vest overlay. The Han Solo that we know of when Luke and the gang encounter Han for the first time in the bar on Mos Eisley in the cantina. Then we jump over, well, let's go back to Han real quick. We get Han in that graphic where Han is most likely on the Death Star here. He's getting ready to take a shot at one of the stormtroopers coming towards him. Then we jump over to Chewbacca. Chewbacca is almost 100% spot on to what he looked like in 1978. The only comparison that I have found is he's a little bit, and I mean, I don't even know if you can factor in about a centimeter, not even a centimeter, a micromillimeter smaller. His weight is just a hair off as the original figure. I'm assuming that's because of the plastics used now, but for the most part, he is 100% spot on. And in his card back, we get Chewie in an action pose, most likely like Han is. He's taking out a stormtrooper. Jumping over to the other side by Han, we have the infamous villain, and for the spoiler alert here, if no one knows by now already, Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia's father, Darth Vader. Darth Vader comes in his exact black cape coat, red lightsaber, and his molded figure. Again, probably the most spot-on figure next to Chewie in weight and size and comparison. You also get him in his card back where he's about ready to fight most likely Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that's about it. Jumping across the board here, we get one of the best graphics that I remember as a kid seeing in the store, and just, you know, standing out at you saying, Army build, Army build, Army build as a little kid, and wanting more and more and more. And that is the classic Stormtrooper. Now, this classic Stormtrooper here, unfortunately, doesn't match to a T what the Stormtrooper looked like. This Stormtrooper now, whatever white plastic material they made him out of, is a little bit different. I want to say he's more of a dull. I remember the Stormtroopers having a little bit more shine to them. It could be me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Comment down in the comment section and let me know. But he's spot on as in what he originally looked like. He was almost stick figure like, you know, there's really no articulation to him, or really no articulation to any of these figures. But he comes with the updated black blaster, and that's about it. As far as the picture, his graphic, you get a wonderful two Stormtrooper representation on the card, most likely on the Death Star, taking a shot at Luke or Han or the gang or whatever. So this is what Hasbro released to us in 2018. Now, I'll tell you right now, I was excited. It blew me away that we were getting these. I know there was a lot of controversy. A lot of fans were not fond of this. A lot of collectors were not fond of this. They thought dishonest collectors or, resellers were going to try and pull these out of package and try and sell them as originals and try and rip people off that didn't know. I can't say that that did happen. I can't say that it didn't happen. But I can tell you right now, these figures were pretty hard to get because once they hit the shelves in Target got the first license release run on these, they were gone as pretty much as soon as they hit the shelf. So if it did happen, shame on those collectors that tried to pass these off as originals. Excuse me, my voice is cracking. But I can't really see that these really took off and tried to be resold. Now, one thing that I do want to say with the updated packaging, and you will see here, and I'll pull one into camera view. On the, let's see, out of the 6 here, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the characters have the new updated legal mumble jumble up here. Warning, choking hazard, small parts, not for children under 3 years old. Which, that has to be put on all toys now. Unfortunately, there are parents out there that don't educate their children, or, you know, kids that just don't realize, hey, don't put stuff in your mouth. You know, you can choke on it and potentially, you know, die. So, it is what it is. But that is one of the other eyesores on the card back here, unfortunately. But 2 of the characters out of the line here, and I'll pull in Darth Vader, for example, since Luke is so far back. On Darth Vader, he doesn't have it, nor does his son, Luke. They don't have that warning on the card. I don't know why those 2 figures don't have it. I don't know if it has to do with the lightsaber itself. That's what I'm assuming it is. The lightsaber is not considered a choking or a small enough piece to be a choking piece in children. Maybe it passed whatever the grading that it needs to get in order to have that placed on their card. I don't know, or on toys in general. But Luke and Darth don't have it. Now, let's flip around and get into the card back. On this, we have the back of the card that basically says, the Star Wars Retro Collection is inspired by the 1970s Star Wars figures and features original figure design and detailing. Continue your collection from the galaxy far, far away. Each sold separately, subject to availability. Then it goes into other languages, and I'm assuming it is most likely French, Spanish, and maybe another language that I can't understand at this time. And then you get all the legal mumble jumble down here in the back. Obviously, we get the Disney licensing logo here at the bottom, as well as Hasbro. But some people have pointed out, why did they put Kenner on the front, but we know Kenner is no longer in existence and it's actually Hasbro? Well, here's the deal. This is a retro card, and even though Hasbro consumed Kenner years ago, they still own the name and the licensing right, the graphic, the font, the trademark, the copyright, whatever you want to call it. They own all of that. So they're allowed to put that on their cards because ultimately that's who originally released these toys, was Kenner, or made these toys. And Hasbro now owns and has consumed Kenner. So they're going to still get their business name on there, the new company, and that is Hasbro down here, and they put it on the back. At least they were nice enough to put these on the back. So folks, that's what I have for you today. I wanted to touch base on the retro collection. I know a lot of collectors and fans love these retro figures. I, for one, am one of those. They've come out with 2 other waves. We'll get into those as time goes on. This is part 1. But when I see these card backs, this takes me back. Now, granted, I was just an infant in 1977. I was born in 1976. So these toys here were ultimately hand-me-downs from my brother, or I picked them up maybe later on in a re-release pack of like maybe Empire or Jedi or something like that. And that's very common for manufacturers and brands to re-release those figures, but on different cards. And we all know, if you're a collector and you're all about having your lines, you know that these came out in different waves, different card backs for the different movies. But I never got to experience these as a kid because I was too young. And by the time Empire Strikes Back came out and Return of the Jedi, obviously these cards for the most part were gone, destroyed, stored away, whatever they were. They really weren't out there on the market for myself by the time I hit about 5 years old. So to get a hold of these when these came out was very special for me. I was excited. Obviously, I can't afford original ones or I'd be broke and probably divorced. But this fulfills that that gratitude and feeling that I'm looking for. Yes, I would love the sticker off, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. It still says, hey, they look like the originals, but they're retros, but I still like looking at them. One of the other things I forgot to touch base on was the card itself. The card gets a lot of crap in the industry. They do. And I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. It doesn't really bother me. But in reality, if these were brand new when they were released, in 77, or even if you're going to release them again in 2018 or try to, why wouldn't you make the cards look pristine as they came off the manufacturing line back then? They, this time around, Hasbro decided to rough up the edge of the card, make them look like they've been tossed around on the shelf and kids are rifling through them and they've been thrown all over the place and scratched up. Why they went that way, I don't know. It's not my liking, if you will, but I don't even understand it. But it doesn't bother me as an individual. Like it doesn't affect it like, oh, these are junk, I'm not going to collect them. Do I think it was a bright move? Nope. I think it actually, quite frankly, it was pretty stupid. At least just keep the cards pristine. Let that age happen over time if people are careless with them. To enhance it and force it on the consumer immediately, especially your collector that that you're targeting, which is going to be between 35 and 50 years old. This is probably going to be a trigger for those collectors and it's going to, piss them off. So why they did it, I don't know. But for me, for one, it doesn't bother me. So folks, that's it in a nutshell. This is the 2018 Star Wars Retro Collection action figure line. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to like and subscribe. Remember to hit that notification button up in the right-hand corner. And as always, I'll see you in Yesterland.